I don't think I can wait anymore. They've cooled off a little bit. They're probably still a little hot, but I'm gonna give them a try, just like you would do at Floridino's. Oh my gosh. They are packed with that meat and cheese and flavor in a nice little pizza muffin. The bottom is super like golden and toasty. You guys, and you could eat several of these as a meal or have this as a snack or an after-school snack for your kids. These pizza muffins need to be on your menu this week. We have a local pizza and pasta place here in Arizona called Floridino's, and it has actually been my family's favorite place, especially for like hosting parties, for years. And they have something on their menu called Pizza Muffins. And recently, one of our clients actually requested that I recreate this recipe. And I knew exactly what they were talking about, and I couldn't wait to make this a little bit more macro-friendly. So here we go, macro-friendly Floridino's pizza muffins. All right, so I've already preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and I have got some ground beef, lean ground beef, and chicken Italian sausage browning up in the pan. So I'm just browning up the ground beef. This is 96% lean ground beef and Italian style chicken sausage. If your chicken sausage comes in links, just remove the sausage from the casing before you brown it up with the ground beef. So we're just gonna get this cooked through, breaking it up while it cooks. My husband hates when I use this to chop up meat and then I don't actually rinse it off, because then all the meat gets caked on and he has to wash it later. Babe, I'll wash it for you today. Any other wives have husbands that do all the dishes? You do the cooking, he does the dishes. It's kind of like the perfect complement. Okay, now right to this pan, we're gonna add 5 ounces of diced Canadian bacon. And we're gonna mix that right in. Let that get warmed up. Just gonna turn that down a little bit. Okay, now we're adding garlic powder. You want about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Be generous. Okay, you can measure this with your heart, but about a half a teaspoon. And about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. If you want to measure with just your hand, a teaspoon is just about your palm full. Stir that in. Oh, that smells good already. Starting to smell like pizza. All right, so we're gonna turn the heat off. This is all browned and warmed through. We're gonna turn the heat off and remove this now from the heat. All right, so to the meat, we're just gonna add a cup of cheese. Now this is a half a cup of fat-free mozzarella and a half a cup of part skim mozzarella. I blend the two so that you can have more cheese for less calories, but you don't really notice the fat-free cheese texture. If we did all fat-free cheese, it would kind of be like a rubbery texture, but when you mix it with part skim, you get the texture of regular cheese, but the lower calories of the fat-free. So we're just gonna mix that right in. And it should start to melt because this meat is still warm. Just get it very gently blended in, and then we're just gonna set this to the side until we're ready to assemble our pizza rolls. So next we have to make the dough. Now, if you're making these and you don't care about the macros, you could 100% use pre-made pizza dough, but I wanna make these as low-cal and high protein as possible. So we're gonna make a super simple 2-ingredient dough. You can use this dough for pizzas, calzones, strombolis, pizza muffins, so many things. All right, that's mixed in. We're gonna set that to the side and get to work on the dough. So I like to use this pastry mat to try and keep things somewhat clean. And all you need is self-rising flour and fat-free plain Greek yogurt. All right, I know making your own dough can be a little bit intimidating, but I promise you it's super easy, especially if you have a food processor. So we're gonna put everything into the food processor. All right, 210 grams of self-rising flour goes right in. Keep the flour out, you're gonna need a little bit more later. And 255 grams of plain non-fat Greek yogurt. That's it, 2 ingredients. Now, you could, if you want to, add some garlic powder, some Italian seasoning. You can add any kind of seasonings to the dough that you want if you wanna add more flavor, but this is the basic dough. 2 ingredients, all you need. And then we take out 255 grams. Because if we put it in here and we put too much in, it's very hard to take it out. But if you do it this way, you're not gonna ever accidentally put in too much. All right, so if you don't have a food processor, you can use like a stand mixer, or you can use your hands and just knead this together in a big bowl. But the food processor is the easiest way. I actually learned how to do this from my brother. When I was younger, he and I would always make my nanny's homemade raviolis, and this is exactly how we made the pasta dough. All right, so food processor, and you're just gonna let it go, okay? So we're just gonna let it go. It's gonna be loud, and you're gonna keep it going. You might need to scrape the sides once, but then let it keep going until a ball of dough forms. It's like magic when it happens. There we go. Now we have our dough ball. How easy was that? All right, now remember I said you needed more flour. Here's where we don't want to skimp, okay? You want to flour your surface. You want a nice, big, flat, clean surface. Probably don't need that much flour, but it's fine. Spread the flour out. Okay, we're gonna get our dough ball, and it just comes right out. Now there might be a couple little pieces that didn't come together. That's okay. Your 2-ingredient pizza dough. All right, so we're just gonna kind of mold this into a ball using flour for your hands so your hands don't stick. Make it into a nice ball. Now you could do this ahead of time, wrap it in some saran wrap and refrigerate it, or you could make a bunch of these ahead of time. I honestly don't know how well they would freeze, but they would definitely stay in the refrigerator for at least a few days if you wanted to do this ahead of time. So we've got our dough ball. Now we're gonna roll it out into a large rectangle. You're gonna want it to be about 12 by 17 inches. That's another reason I love my pastry mat, because it has measurements on here, so I know exactly how big to make it. I'm gonna use my rolling pin. I'm gonna make sure we've got enough flour to help the rolling pin stay coated as well. Doesn't really stick a whole lot to the metal rolling pin that I have, but it'll help. All right, so then we just go. We just start gently rolling. And this is the part, this does take a little bit of elbow grease, but hey, what's an extra workout? If we're not lifting weights so we can roll macro-friendly pizza dough, what are we doing it for anyway? Now I'm trying to get this into a rectangle. So far it's kind of a circle, but we'll get there. Now, as you get rolling, the top might end up getting a little sticky again, so you can just put a little more flour on top, keep it nice and smooth so nothing is sticking. And I like to just keep turning and rolling until we get it about the size we want it. What did I say? How big did I want it? 12 by 17? Now here's a little trick. If it's a circle and you want it to be a rectangle, use the edge of your rolling pin and just apply pressure on the spots that you want to make out into the corners. And that'll help shape it more into a rectangle. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle, but you want it about a rectangular shape so that when we roll it up, we don't have like spots that have more or less dough, because we're going to be rolling this and then slicing it so that we have little pizza rolls basically, and then we're going to bake them in the muffin tin, hence pizza muffins. So see, when you just kind of roll the edge of the rolling pin like that, it gives you more control on the shape that you're trying to get here. But again, don't worry if it's not perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. Whoops. Okay, I think we're good. All right, dough's ready. All right, so now all we're gonna do is spread our cheese and meat filling all over this, and then we're gonna roll it up. Okay, so let's give this another little stir. And that's why we cook the meat first, because we do want it to be just slightly cooled before we put it onto the dough. All right, this is a lot of meat. These are gonna be fat pizza rolls. So we're just gonna dump it all in the middle and then spread it out. You wanna try to spread this as evenly as possible and get it just about all the way up to the edge. You really don't need, you just want like the tiniest little edge of dough around the sides, because we want every single bite to have this filling. Okay. This might be the hardest part, rolling it up, especially when it's this full. Another reason I like the pastry mat. So if you have a pastry mat, it really does help, because you can kind of lift to get at least that first little roll started. And then you're just gonna very carefully keep rolling all the way. And if you get a little fallout on the edges, just tuck it right back in there Don't you worry. Again, nothing has to be perfect. It's gonna be okay. Woof. Okay, that is a fat that is a fat pizza roll. I can't even say it. All right, I'm just gonna kind of tuck the edges so everything is nice and secure there, so I can work with it. Now we're gonna cut this into even slices. We want 12 slices, but before I do that, I'm just gonna lightly spray my muffin tin with cooking oil to my cutting board. Oh, look at that, not too bad. Okay, and that way we'll be able to slice it easily. So we need 12. So we're gonna go, let's see, we're gonna cut this in half first. Did I do it right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did it right. Okay. All right, so now we take each little roll and place it in the muffin pan. So carefully, trying to keep all the filling in there. These are gonna be good. I'm excited. I'm so glad somebody recommended this recipe. I don't know why I never thought of it, to be honest. Because Floridino's is a staple in the Blumetti house, especially the pizza muffins. We have hosted many family parties at Floridino's, and we always order extra pizza muffins. Now, I'm not sure if this is exactly how they make them, but I know we've got all the flavors in there. Now, the last thing we need to do is make a quick little egg wash. Just whisk 1 egg, and we're just gonna brush the edges with the egg, throw it in the oven, and then we get to eat. All right, so this doesn't have to be fancy or perfect either. We're just going to get some egg wash, kind of, you can do it all over the top, but especially around the edges where the dough is exposed, so that the dough gets nice and browned. But when I cook like a couple recipes in a day and I film, I usually try to do most of the dishes for him, so he doesn't come home after a long day of work and have like a mountain of dishes to do. But when it's just us, when I'm just cooking dinner for the family, I always cook and he does the dishes. It's a really nice little partnership we've got. Okay, these are gonna go into the oven for about 18 to 22 minutes until they're golden brown and the cheese is melted. Yeah, look at those. All right, I'm gonna let them cool just a tiny bit, then we'll plate them up and taste them. Look at how perfectly brown those got. Oh my gosh, these are gonna be so good. I wanna take a bite, but I think I'll burn my mouth. Macro-friendly Floridino's pizza muffins. These are only 179 calories and 17 grams of protein each. I can't wait to dig in. I have to let them cool off, but I don't wanna wait. I don't think I can wait anymore. They've cooled off a little bit. They're probably still a little hot, but I'm gonna give them a try, just like you would do at Floridino's. Oh my gosh. They are packed with that meat and cheese and flavor in a nice little pizza muffin. The bottom is super like golden and toasty. You guys, and you could eat several of these as a meal or have this as a snack or an after-school snack for your kids. These pizza muffins need to be on your menu this week.
Want this recipe and over 250 more just like it? Grab them all in our app with the monthly meal plan recipe subscription at fitfoodiechicks.com/food.
And don't forget to grab your free Ultimate 10 ebook with our top 10 viral breakfast, lunch, treat, and snack recipes that broke the internet. Get it at fitfoodiechicks.com/ebook or in the link in our bio or the description of this video.